We're live. Welcome back. Welcome to Quarantine on Fire.
Welcome back. Today I'm going to be in my kitchen again.
Very nice.
We're delivering the food again. So this is
Dr. Olive is ready for surgery.
the doctor will see you now.
How did that appendectomy go earlier?
Not good. Not good.
So,
Yes.
big shout out today to La Lime's, which is a venerable East Bay restaurant.
I know.
Ig and Cindy, the owners, sent out a letter today, and they're of course closed as everybody else is through the virus, but they have decided to call it quits.
Crazy.
35 years.
Oh my God. Yep.
Really great restaurant. They've always focused on sustainable, good ingredients, good fish, good meat. They've had a lot of great chefs go through there.
I think a lot of people are going to have the same issues. So
Yes.
a lot of people we know. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Very sad.
Yeah. It's going to be a long time before we get back to normal.
Yeah, but whatever. We have to keep going. So it's we know that. Hey man, sorry, I have some people coming pick up the food, so I'm saying hi at the same time I'm talking to you guys. Woo.
Grand Central Station. Yes, well, some of us will make it. Cesar is going to reopen. Kitchen on Fire is going to reopen, and we will be.
Yeah, we'll reopen. We'll have to adapt, and we'll have to, it's going to be a new whatever, and we'll figure it out. So, I mean, we are losing a lot of money, everybody, where we don't make any money at all. We have zero. We have no income. It's crazy tough. We didn't get our loan. It's complete bullshit. But you can't just, you have to keep going. We'll figure it out. So now we're making food. Whatever we can do. It's and everybody needs to keep going. We can't. So, James, what are your questions? I know they're not yours, but
Your what?
I know they're not yours question, but
Oh yes, we have a first question.
we have a lot of questions, right?
This is kind of
We pick the one we want to make fun of.
That's right. This is kind of a personal question. It's what's your favorite dish to cook at home? I guess they just want to get to know you a little better.
So my favorite dish, I know you asked me that, and I need to think about it. What I like to do at home is experiments, obviously. Do stuff that I don't do normally. Do crazy stuff. Or I like 4 day we to eat tomorrow.
That's right.
Today, tomorrow, every day.
Yeah.
What I like to eat, I like to make at home. Actually, we can ask 4 day. What does he like to make at home? Meanwhile, I can say.
You know what I like to do every once in a while. In fact, I did it last night. I like to treat myself to a steak. So I went and bought a filet mignon yesterday at the local butcher, and I did it with a little wine sauce afterwards, and it was delicious. It was so tender and rare. I had a nice green salad with it. I also like to cook fish.
What I like to do is I would like to work with spices, a lot of spices. So lots of spices. And usually when I cook for myself or I do stuff at home, I put way more garlic and pickled onion. I'm very much into garlic and onion. It's something I've done all my life, but as I grow older, I eat more and more of that, and I don't get sick, and that's the idea.
Right.
And I will post. I am preparing, guys. By the way, whoever's listening, I am preparing a little video on garlic because I saw the most incredible stuff on some online that people should not. That garlic doesn't do anything specific, and that will give them fake hope. That is so stupid. Oh my God. You guys need to start reading the internet. Garlic is extremely good for you. It's not about hope. It's not about hope. Garlic is phenomenal. There's tons of studies and studies that are come out in the PLOS One, which are peer-reviewed medical journal. They are at Lavoisier, all these big journals, they talk, what's his name? The guy who discovered penicillin, Pasteur.
The
First one, Pasteur, was the first one to declare, to find the proper, the antibiotic attribute of garlic in 1850 something, you know. So it's old. It's not a new thing. It's not a new thing. Oh, my cousin.
Yeah.
Oh. Nice. Very good. Yes. Big kiss too.
Yeah, people have been writing about the health benefits of garlic for hundreds of years. I mean, it goes back to the ancients. They knew it was good for you.
It's all over the world. It's not just one country, one idiot. It's worldwide. Right. Civilization have been using before medicine was here. So don't worry. If you don't want to take garlic, don't take it. Just literally don't take it. But don't cook it though. Don't cook it. Just eat it raw, smashed, raw. Boom. Okay? With some honey if you want.
Yeah, that sounds good. I want to try that.
You should do that every day. So the idea about garlic is you need to do it every day, and so you do 3 days, stop 1 day, do 3 days, stop 1 day. It's good to kind of everything you do, it needs to have a break, and that goes for all the food in the world. That's just the way it is, because the body gets used to, and in some aspect it could be an allergy. Always want to clean what you. And that's the idea. That's why you eat a lot of different things, because you don't want to be overloaded with one item, because the body might reject it after a while. Good.
Right. So, you know, I have another question here that's kind of has to do with what we've just been talking about, and that somebody wanted to know what ingredients should I absolutely not use, like for either environmental reasons, health reasons, whatever. What should I? Margarine. I said don't eat anything you can't pronounce.
Which one?
Don't eat anything you can't pronounce.
Well, that's not very true.
Except quinoa. You should eat quinoa. And no one can.
What about arugula?
Arugula, yeah. Eat arugula even if you can't pronounce it.
You know what arugula sounds like? So
no.
You know the old Ford T?
Yeah, the old car horns.
The horn.
And eat.
Sorry, I'm coughing because I swallowed a chickpea.
Oh.
Wrong way.
Supposed to chew those.
Oh, I was playing with my clean. It was fun, man. But it hurts.
Well, back to the question. I think we've talked about this before. We advocate using really
you're frozen.
Clean, fresh. Huh? I'm frozen?
Yeah, you're back. So when you talk about this, okay, that's fine.
So like choose organic ingredients, choose local ingredients whenever you can. I mean, it's not always possible to get those things, but whenever you can, opt for those. They're not that much more expensive.
Well, we talked about this.
Yeah. So that's my advice as far as what not to use. And don't use a lot of packaged products. Don't buy packaged, pre-made things.
We already captured that. People, I think they know, they got the idea.
All right.
That you know, I don't mind repeating it, but.
So you want another question?
No, I haven't answered this one.
Oh, go ahead.
Margarine.
Margarine, yes.
I am not a big fan personally of vegetable oil. What else? Buying big bulk of spices that are ground. That's a mistake.
Oh yeah.
Then what are the ingredients? One thing you really never want to get in your kitchen is those oil spray.
Oh yeah.
How good they are. Just don't do that. Seriously. This is, first of all, it's a waste. It's really bad for the environment. It's bad for you. And it's super expensive because you get nothing out of that little spray.
Yeah.
And it's not even convenient. It doesn't. Why? You can't just put oil in the pan. I mean, seriously. You can't.
I think you should avoid pre-cut vegetables, like things that are already all chopped up and diced. They lose a lot of flavor. I imagine they lose a lot of nutrients.
They gain nutrients for a while, and then later they may become bad. So they gain nutrients the first maybe hour, 2 hours, possibly one day, possibly. But then after that, that cut part it may release eventually some endotoxin, so basically the toxin that the bacteria makes.
Right.
And those toxin might be a problem. So when they're cut for too long, I'm not sure really how good they are.
I suppose if they were cut and then immediately vacuum packed, they'd probably be
probably
fine.
Yes, I'm sure.
But only if you're going to cook the whole thing, you know. If you're not, if you can only cook a little bit of it, then you've got the same problem.
But frozen is great, though.
Frozen vegetables are very good. I prefer fresh. They're great to have around. Peas, we've been buying frozen
peas,
broccoli.
So what else? What else don't we want in the kitchen?
Don't want in the kitchen.
Too much plastic, and if you work with plastic can, which is okay, like if you have nothing else, just remember to put that food completely cold in those plastic cans. That's all.
Oh, right.
Stuff in plastic.
Yeah.
So if you have something hot, you want to start packaging, wait tomorrow, put that in the fridge, wait, and then package it.
Right. You also want to let things, I mean, you want to let things cool down anyway before you put them away.
Completely.
Yeah.
So I got watching my door as I do the show because I have people coming and picking up food, which is good.
Invite them on the show. Oh, you have to keep 6 feet away, though.
Yeah. My problem is I have only 2 of them, but I ordered 4 more feet. But I only my 2 feet. Oh man.
Well, I can't really think of any more ingredients, things that you absolutely should.
Yeah, one thing also, black pepper. Don't use ground black pepper.
Ground black pepper. Even if it's fresh ground?
Fresh ground, yes.
Yeah.
This is important. Black pepper is phenomenal. It's a direct antioxidant. It's amazing stuff. It enables food absorption, vitamin absorption way more. So way more absorption goes to the blood because of black pepper, which is pretty cool, right?
Right.
What do you think about sunflower oil? It's not bad, but it's a vegetable oil again, and vegetable oil they tend to be oxidized already in the bottle. So I end up with something that's already oxidized. It's not a huge deal, but it's not great. So sunflower, my mom used sunflower. She does that, but it's very lots of omega-6. It's an inflammatory oil, and for any reason that thing is old and damaged, then you really have a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues with those oils. Those are not. This is new stuff that has come after the Industrial Revolution. Everything that came after this period, I think, that's my opinion. But and it's like this is an opinion of someone who wants to stay healthy, and sometimes I don't have any ground for what I say. A lot of time I do, and sometimes I don't. I tell you, this is my opinion. I don't think vegetable oils are great. That's all. Avocado oil is fantastic. Corn is fantastic. That's pretty much it. And then, of course, coconut oil, olive oil, chicken fat, bacon fat. But we already talked about this, so yes.
Well, I think if you are going to use something like sunflower oil, you should make sure you buy a really good brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Made responsibly. This company, La Tourangelle, they
La Tourangelle. Let's say that in French.
Gel. Tourangelle.
La Tourangelle is my student.
Oh yeah. They do fabulous oils, and they
absolutely. We were going to work together right before that thing happened. I met the owner a year ago, and then I met his wife like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And we were going to do something with the Tourangelle. Absolute, beautiful. And they're beautiful because they come in a can. That's
right. So it's protected from light. And they make relatively small cans too. So if it's something you don't use a lot of, you don't have to buy a big thing of it. So, I mean, that's key also. You don't want it to sit around for a long time. That stuff doesn't improve with age.
You don't.
It does not improve with age. Not a Bordeaux. Yeah, don't forget to share. Why does it say that?
Don't forget, it's I forgot cash. Your cash.
Okay, let's move on to another question.
Yes.
Somebody asked, chilies can be very confusing.
Ah, Jessica. And that's a hand.
Or a hand washing.
James, that's a hand.
Yeah.
Jessica is my stepdaughter of my first wife.
Ah.
Who died a long time ago. What a most incredible woman in the world. But anyway.
Is she in France or is she here? Jessica.
In Los Angeles.
Oh, in Los Angeles.
Contact with her. It's been 30 years or maybe 40. I don't know. I'm good with numbers, as you can see.
Anyway, chilies can be very confusing. And someone asked, why do so many chilies have the same name even though they look the same? Very interesting question.
And James, you have an answer. I know that.
I do have an answer. As we know, all chilies originated in South and Central America.
Yeah.
Mexico probably has the biggest range of chilies of any country. But up until very recently, Mexico is a very, very regional country, divided up into states similar to what we have. Except you have to understand that back in the 19th century, these regions were very isolated. And if you grew up in one region, you probably never went to another region your whole life. So they all were growing these same peppers, and they were naming them, but they named them different things, often based on what they looked like or named after the place or whatever. So that's why you can go through Mexico and you can find basically the same chili in 2 or 3 different regions of the country, and they're going to have different names. And then to confuse it even more, some of these chilies change names once they get dried. Like, for example, if you take a jalapeno and you dry it, smoke it, it becomes a chipotle. So there's stuff like that.
James, why don't you? Do you have the list of those? Those are great. I love that. Do you have the list of the changes or no?
I'll get a list and show it next time. I do have some lists of
because it's really cool. You know, it's funny. I discovered those things a couple of years ago only.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
A poblano chili, when it gets dried, becomes an ancho chili. I mean, there's the names, and then chilies traveled around the world. So you've got chilies that grow in Asia and Africa and places, and they've got totally different names again. They've usually morphed into a different variety of chili, but that's it. It's just because the world is big.
You know what, James? Can you get in touch with that farm that grows the padron?
Happy Belly.
Yeah. Can you get in touch with them or no?
Happy Quail.
Happy Quail.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that'd be great to interview them because you know how they started. It's funny, right?
Didn't they bring them back from Spain?
No, I think that they were coming to Cesar a lot, and they were eating those padrones and keeping the seeds.
Oh.
Experiment. I think that's what happened. That's super awesome. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And then they figure out how to get those seeds, and then they had a whole farm on that.
It's amazing that they can grow them so much like the ones that are grown in Padron.
Right. Yeah, amazing.
Because I've eaten them in Spain, and they're exactly the same.
Chilies are part of a family called nightshades. And the nightshades is all the stuff that have a kind of a thick skin that can burn, except for potatoes. But it's basically eggplant, chili, tomato
too, right?
Tomato, bell pepper, and tobacco. So when you look at some people get inflamed or they have inflammation issue when they eat those nightshades. It basically what happens is some people are allergic to those alkaloids, and it makes their joint hurt. It's mostly from something called lectins. For some people, lectins can be poisonous. And what you do in the old days, traditionally, the pepper were always blackened and deseeded. and the lectin lives in the seeds and the skin. When you look at Italy, the tomatoes are always peeled and seeded. You make
Right.
pomodoro. So it's a very ancient tradition to do that. And the reason is, I don't know the reason, but you have to understand that the way people were cooking in the old days, they had already figured out the health part of it, because the food part of it is secondary. In the old days, the medicine part was the number one.
Uh-huh.
Feeding is part of that. So if you think you have allergies or if you have issues with your joint or any of that, remove the skin and the seed, just like most people do.
Yeah, and it's no accident that chilies grow. They tend to grow in a band around the center of the earth.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And people are always confused why they eat hot chilies in really hot countries. You think they'd eat them in Scandinavia and northern Canada, but it's actually a form of it's a natural air conditioner. When you eat chilies and you get really, really hot and you start to sweat, and that sweat actually cools you off. So chilies are a great thing to eat in hot weather.
So the way it happens actually is it's chemistry. It's that pepper is going to trigger reaction. It blocks the P receptor in your body, and what happens is now you have this burn sensation, which is not burn at all. It's a signal, and that signal goes to the brain, and the body thinks it's getting hot and it wants to cool you down.
Right. Interesting.
And so basically, chilies are called rubefacient. Rubefacient. Ruby, red.
Right.
Make red. So it's a. So when you put capsaicin from the chili on your skin, it will draw the blood to that area and remove inflammation. That's how it works. It's pretty cool.
Huh.
Because chili, capsaicin is a large molecule that cannot travel through the membrane, so it stays locally. So capsaicin only burns locally. The other thing that burns is mustard, and the mustard is the isocyanate, very small molecule that can cross the membrane and burn your sinuses, and that actually can burn. Because mustard is a poison, it's a cyanide that we use a lot for antibiotic purposes, like to eat and be healthy, like horseradish and garlic and onion. But too much can burn. Too much can be negative, right?
Yeah. Horrifyingly, they used it a lot in World War I. They used mustard gas to.
Oh yeah. No, well, garlic is called the Russian penicillin.
I've never called it that.
But that's what they do. They used it for World War II. That's what they were giving the soldier that was the thing. And actually, garlic was part of the pharmacopoeia teaching in old pharmaceutical from 19. So I met this pharmacist. She was 60 years old. So what is that? 40 years old maybe ago. And in her book, garlic was part of the that thing they were using. Isn't it incredible? And now that was in the book. That was in the textbook.
How about when you cut into a garlic clove and it's got a green?
Maybe it's not a big deal. It's just bitter. You can remove it.
Just cut it out. Doesn't taste good.
My garlic, if she. Yes. So garlic is a natural antibiotic. And a lot of people are saying that garlic has no benefit, which is really stupid, and those people should be removed from the internet forever. And some are famous, and I completely don't understand that, but I'm glad that other people think differently. And also, when I do research, guys, I don't go on Wikipedia and collect whatever stuff. I go and I look at all the PhD people that did studies on garlic. I pull the studies, I compare them, I look at the chemical compound, I look at the exact reaction, I compare the reaction, I look at why it does that, and then I look at why this isocyanate does this. I go to another research, I find another PhD, I compare his studies, and after years and years and years and years, I can tell you garlic is phenomenal. Stop listening to people. Now, it's not even that. You can, even if you don't believe me, I'll do a video on that. I, I know you don't know how to do research, but this is how you can start. Type garlic as an antibiotic and look only at the peer review. Peer reviews will be +1, Elvizier, what is WebMD? WebMD is kind of, but what's the other? The Journal of Chemistry. You have those are big newspaper. And as I was saying to you earlier, Pasteur was the first one to label garlic as an antibiotic and discover its properties.
Interesting.
Antibiotic can be.
That's why I'm in graduate school, because I can't do that kind of research. I don't have the patience.
I do.
We have you.
It's so interesting also because you like, oh well, yeah, it makes sense. So now I can explain to people why I believe garlic is very good, like horseradish, like onion, like ginger, because it's been used for millions of years. Not millions of years. Well, I might maybe, but thousands of years. And we have documentation. I mean, people have already talked about it. I mean, we're talking the Greeks, the Egyptian. I mean, we find some in Egypt in the tombs.
Right. Well, and like you said, 1,000 years ago, I mean, people ate what they could get to fill themselves full of food. But the most important thing was its benefits, not so much what it tastes like.
Exactly.
And they researched that, and they knew what plants were good for you, what made you well, what made you sick.
You need to understand the way people were eating. Like you can go to the medieval times, which is a good period because it's not so far. People would die. They knew that. Had to be extremely careful with their food, and they had to understand how that food works. Even though they were very poor and didn't have much, what were they eating? Cabbage and onion all day long. Oh,
yeah.
Look, isn't it one of the most incredible food? And then they were eating potatoes later, much later, potato peels later. But all those good vegetables, carrot, all this stuff. And you know why? Because in the old days in France, everything that was below the ground was evil. Everything was above the ground was closer to God.
Oh, right.
So the aristocrat was the birds. Also, the pâté of bird was very fancy. Apples, pears, everything that's up.
Right.
Sitting there, but no carrots, no pineapple, no turnip, none of that because it's evil. It's under the ground. It's crazy, huh?
That is crazy. Yeah. Well, that leads us to another question, which we can do very quickly.
Yeah.
This has to do with a long-standing myth, and that is vodka really made from potatoes? And the answer is yes and no.
So you
yes,
know.
Yes, it can be made from potatoes, and often is. There are still a couple brands that make it from potatoes. But there's a myth that goes around that people say that that's what it originally was, and that's not true because Russia didn't have potatoes until long after they'd been making vodka.
Nobody had potato until
until many years after Columbus.
Or what is that? 1700 or
yeah,
around before the revolution, because the potato, when they came to France, it was a poison like most countries. And what they did is, it was a big famine, and the king realized that people, in order to eat the potatoes, they had to be tricked into that. So what they did is, during the day, they had those guards from the king's army protecting the fields of potatoes.
Yeah.
And every night, the guard would go home. They did that because they knew if they did that, people would go and steal the potatoes and eat them. And, they had
that's funny.
And that's how the potatoes were launched in France. And they were able to actually promote that. It's crazy.
So yes, you can make vodka from potatoes. You can make vodka from almost any fermentable carbohydrate. But most vodka, 99% of the vodka in the world is made from grain. And like I said, they didn't have potatoes until, I don't think they had them in Russia until, I'm sure, the 18th century.
Yeah, it came all together in Europe. It came from South America.
Yeah, all the potatoes came from South America. Vodka actually means little water. and it's short for water of life, or eau de vie in French, aqua vitae in Latin, and that's what it is. It's just a clear clear distillate, and anyway, that's all.
Vodka is good. I love vodka, man.
Yeah, vodka's good. I like tequila better.
I don't drink booze much, but I like it. I like it once in a while. Cool, people. Man, I want to let's talk about potatoes tomorrow.
Okay.
Potato is fun. It's not a bad vegetable. The bad thing is to eat potato all the time, like fried and stuff. But it could be interesting. It has a lot of nutrients and it saves the world. So yes. Great.
All we have time for. So thank you for joining us.
I'm gonna go back to my cooking in my kitchen. You guys
get back into surgery. We'll see you next time. Don't be afraid. Stay well. Oh, is that the operating room behind you? So long, everybody.
I just don't know what to do with the blood. Should I reduce it? Bye.
Blood sausage.